Hello everybody and welcome. Have you taken your aspirin today? Because our head is hurting today as we see if we can beat the game Pokemon FireRed with only a Psyduck. Psyduck was incredibly popular due to his time to shine in the anime with plenty of personality. In a solo run though, well, let's take a look at the stats. The only thing remotely passable is that special attack, which is good given the fact that looking at Psyduck's moveset, we can learn a pretty good deal of them. We have access to some physical attacks as well, but for the most part, I think that we'll mostly be relying on special hitting moves and ideally ones of the same type. As we grab our Psyduck, it has a hardy nature, increasing defense and decreasing our attack. To take a look at our ability, we have Cloud 9, which negates weather effects. Overall, we won't be able to make use too much of that ability, and for the rival, we give him Bulbasaur. Of the three, that'll likely be the hardest for us to face, though we do have a slight advantage on our side, given the fact that we can learn Confusion. For a brief coverage of the rules, I can only use Psyduck in battle, though I will need other Pokemon for HM use. I can't use items in battle, though I can use them outside of battle, and finally, I do allow rare candies for leveling up purposes, but we do try any battle multiple times to make sure that it's just not bad RNG, or maybe even a misclick on my part. But before we get into all that, let's take a look at the beginning lab battle. We have Scratch and Tail Whip to start with. So we begin with Scratch as Bulbasaur uses Growl. Scratch isn't doing much, but we're still able to do more damage than it for the most part. It does take us a little below half, but we do manage to take it out for an easy victory. From there, we have to go through the beginning of the game, and honestly, it takes a lot of time. Between our not-so-great attack, defense, and more often than not with bug catchers, we have to make multiple trips back to the Pokemon Center for HP and PP replenishing. By the time we've made it to the rival, we've gone through a good portion of the bug trainers, and we're just ready for an easier battle at this point. By now, we're sitting at level 10, and open with Scratch, and it's not doing as much as I'd hoped. Sand Attack connects as we take it to half, then take it to red as Pidgey takes us to almost half before we take it out. Next up is Bulbasaur, and we continue with our only real option. Thankfully, we're not punished by Sand Attack, taking the Bulbasaur to red, as it takes us to red, and we're able to take it out to win the battle narrowly, but we do gain another level in the process. After that, we make our way back to Brock's gym, and we go against the junior trainer. And I'll just show the footage here as we go against them. Given the fact that they like to use Harden more often than not, and our physical attack is quite poor, we're doing about 1 HP of damage with every attack, though with a critical, sometimes 2 HP. And when it chooses to go on the offensive, it's just able to take us down. It isn't until level 16, when we learn Confusion, that we can get past the trainer and fight Brock for the first time. Brock starts with Geodude, and we open with Confusion, taking it to about half as Geodude only uses Defense Curl, and we take it to a Sliver. It does hit a soft tackle, but we're able to take it down. Next up is Onix, and Confusion takes it to not quite half as Rock Tomb connects and lowers our speed. Onix now outspeeds us, but switches to Tackle, which is a pretty soft hit. It does miss a bind, and after that, we take it out for a pretty simple victory, though this is one where I'm certain we needed Confusion to be able to get that victory. From there, we can pass along the route to the right and make our way through the trainers, and it's at this time I'd like to remind you to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're approaching that 1K mark, albeit somewhat slowly, somewhat quickly, it just depends on the day. And we've had some pretty fun videos out. We have the podcast still happening every other week, though views aren't nearly as high on there. It's just a fun way to hang out with some good friends. And we're getting ever closer to the school year starting here in the Midwest. So that means my kiddo will be back in school, which hopefully means I can actually catch up a little bit. Along the way to Cerulean, we have a few things to knock out, and that means grabbing the Dome Fossil. We also learn Mega Punch, replacing Disable with it, given the fact that Disable has pretty horrid accuracy, and while it doesn't target a move at random like it did in earlier gens, I'd rather not take the extra hit if I can help it. We have two options in Cerulean, and given the fact that Misty resists Confusion, we go ahead and go fight the rival. Pidgeotto is first, and we open with Mega Punch as Sand Attack connects. We land a hit with another Mega Punch. It hits us, and then we finish it off with Scratch. Bulbasaur is next, and we use Confusion to take it to half, and it misses Sleep Powder, which lets us take it out with the next Confusion. Abra's next, but can't attack, so even if it does take a few turns, we're fine, though we do take it out in one shot. Next is Rattata, and Quick Attack does a bit of damage as we take it to just below half before we knock it out. And this took about 10 attempts, and I did have to level up in the grass next to the city, but even with that extra level, the only reason we won is that Sleep Powder misses. With the rival out of the way, we can head to the route to the north, and it opens up a lot of opportunities for us. If worse comes to worse, we can head to the south, the ship, and even some to the route of the right of Vermilion City, but let's see how we do with Misty now that we've cleared out a small portion of the game. Confusion takes Staryu out in 2 shots, pretty easy for the first Mon. When Starmie is out, we open with Screech to lower its defense 2 stages, taking it below half with 1 Mega Punch. It hits hard with Swift, but thankfully we can land another Mega Punch, knocking it out and winning the badge. Admittedly, again, this also took a few tries given the fact that Screech doesn't have the best accuracy in the world, but I'm still pleased with the overall result. Anytime that we can rely on our current moveset to pull out a victory, rather than leveling up and just brute forcing it, I typically prefer. Now, the next 2 gyms that are coming up are probably going to be a little difficult for us. We've got Surge in his electric gym, and then after the cave, we have to go to Erica's gym. In the meantime, though, we have to go through the ship, and we do spend some time fighting through some of the trainers, grabbing the items that we need, and all too soon, it's time to test our luck against a rival. And if I'm being honest, I'm a little nervous about the next part of the game. The rival first starts with Pidgeotto, and we land a Mega Punch, and Pidgeotto retaliates before we take it down. Ivysaur's next, so we can take it to about half as it puts us to sleep. Despite Vine Whip doing a ton of damage, we do get an early wake up, so that means we can take it out with 1 more Confusion. Raticate goes to red with Mega Punch and takes us all the way down to 19 HP before we can take it out. With Kadabra, we managed to outspeed it and land a Mega Punch, which lets us continue with our pretty narrow victory. That seems to be a theme with this particular run, but I guess it makes for better battles. We give the captain a quick rub down, and then we head to Surge's gym. Voltorb is first, and we open with Confusion, taking it to about half as Sonic Boom does the guaranteed 20 damage before it goes down. Next up is Pikachu, and we use Confusion, taking it to yellow as it uses Thunder Wave. It sets up Double Team, but we bypass that and the Paralysis to take it down. Last up is Raichu, and it outspeeds us and obliterates us with Shockwave. We do try this battle a few times, but unfortunately, given the fact that Pikachu can survive a shot, we always go into the battle with Raichu paralyzed. So for the first time since starting these particular challenges, I have to skip Surge. At this particular level, I don't think there's a way that we can get past him, and rather than level up here and just brute force our way past him, I'd like to move on and gain those levels organically. Surge unlocks Fly, and while it's going to be a pain backwards traveling through the Dark Cave, at least I can get some levels and still be completing part of the game without using a bunch of rare candies. Going through the cave and picking up some new moves, we go to fight Erica first, mostly just due to the fact that we grab Ice Beam. Ice Beam will be beneficial for a lot of parts of the game, and thankfully we have both this and Confusion if we need it for Erica. Erica first sends out Victory Bell, and we open with Ice Beam, taking it out in 1 shot. Next up is Tangela, and another Ice Beam is able to take it down. Last is Vileplume, and Ice Beam takes it to red as Stun Spore connects to paralyze us. Erica heals up, and we continue with our attacks, taking it back to red as Giga Drain does a lot of damage, healing it up in turn. Thankfully, we push past the paralysis and take it out with our next hit, though we definitely were not going to be able to take another attack from Vileplume. Alright, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do that or not, but I won't complain. Let's see if Giovanni goes any better. Onix is first, and we open with Water Pulse, taking it out in 1 shot. Next up is Rhyhorn, and we can take it out in 1 shot as well. Last is Kangaskhan, and we swap to Ice Beam and freeze it on the opening move. We can then whittle it down pretty easily since the Kangaskhan doesn't get the Unfall, and Giovanni doesn't have any healing items, so we can take it out to win the battle. Once again, this took a few tries due to Mega Punch absolutely wrecking us, but once we got the freeze, it was a pretty easy battle. Now that we have that out of the way, we can head back to the tower, and the rival starts off with Pidgeotto. We use Ice Beam, and that takes it out in 1 shot. Next up is Ivysaur, and we use Ice Beam to take it out in 1 shot as well, which is good, given the fact that Vine Whip would probably wreck us even at this level. Gyarados is next, and a bit of a pain, but Ice Beam can take it to a sliver with a critical hit. Thrash hits for pretty solid damage as we swap to return, knocking it out. Next up is Growlithe, and we can knock it out with a single Water Pulse. Last up is Kadabra, and we swap to return, taking it out and winning the battle. Now that we've done that, we can go ahead, head back to Lieutenant Surge. So we go through the cave backwards. It's definitely an odd experience, and hopefully you prefer me doing things this way, rather than just trying to brute force my way at the beginning. But let me know if you prefer me just to level up and kind of beat the gym leaders in order. I could definitely do my best to change my habits. Surge starts with Voltorb as usual, and at this level we can outspeed it and one-shot it. We'll be careful not to use any physical moves given the fact that we don't want static to proc. Pikachu is a one-shot and Raichu double teams as we take it to red. Surge heals up and we can take it back to a sliver, then knock it out next turn. Honestly, I kind of wish that Surge would have attacked, mostly just to see how much damage it would have done. I don't think it would have knocked us out at this level, but I do think that it would have hurt quite a bit. But now, we have access to fly. We can make a quick trip back to Celadon and then head to Fuchsia from there. Arriving in Fuchsia, we can get started with some good old Safari Zone Scramble. Now that we've grabbed the Quick Claw in the prior run, I typically try to grab it, but first we grab a Doduo. We also manage to catch an Execute right after. A second set of Execute ends up running away from us, but we end up finding the Gold Teeth and grabbing the Surf HM inside the area. From there, we can catch a Nidoran, a Rhyhorn, an Execute flees, breaking our streak. We nab a Nidoran, another Rhyhorn, a Nidorino, and end this round with catching a Nidoran male. After that, we can go ahead and deposit our Pokemon that we caught and make our way to Koga's gym. He has some pretty bulky Pokemon, and truthfully, I'm not 100% sure if we can take him on. Unfortunately, Psyduck can't learn Psychic, so when it comes to Psychic-type moves, Confusion is the best that we got. Koga starts with Coughing, and we open up with Confusion, taking it to red as Sludge hits for solid damage. Koga heals up, and we use Confusion, taking it back to red, and then we can take it out. Muck is out, and we use Confusion again, doing about a fifth as Muck uses Toxic. Great! We swap to Ice Beam and take it to about half as it uses Minimize. We can land another hit, taking it to yellow as Toxic damage ramps up, and then Sludge just knocks us out. We do try this battle multiple times, but even if we get poisoned off Sludge, we still get taken out easily. Fun fact, even if we don't get poisoned off of any of the moves, we can't outdamage Koga's team, so we just go ahead and try our hand at the Silph Co rival fight. We do have a trainers that we can go through, and then we challenge the rival. With Pidgeot, we can take it to red with Ice Beam, and it hits hard with Wing Attack before going down. Venusaur doesn't even go to quite half, and then it hits us with Razor Leaf to take us out of one shot. Once again, we try this a lot of times, but overall, we do end up having to level up and head back to Koga. We level up to 50, and for now, we can learn Hydro Pump. At the end of the day, we won't be relying on this move too much, given the fact that it has a lower PP count and the reduced accuracy. However, for the purposes of this battle and the next couple ones, we one-shot the Coughing with Confusion. With Muck, we can take it to half, and it just spends the turn buffing as we take it down. The next Coughing goes down to one shot, and with the Wheezing, we take it to a quarter, get poisoned, and then we can take it down to win the battle. Now we can go ahead and head to Silph Co and challenge the rival again. Pidgeot is first, so we take it to a sliver, freezing it, and then taking it out. With Venusaur, we take it right to around half as it, for whatever reason, only uses Sweet Scent, so then it goes down to another Ice Beam. Gyarados is a 3-shot thanks to another lucky freeze. Then the Doggo goes down to Hydro Pump, and then we take down the Alakazam in 2 returns as it just also doesn't bother attacking. Alright, let's see if I do against Giovanni. Nidorino is up first, and we open with Confusion for the super effective damage and take it below half as Horn Attack deals some damage before it goes down. Next up is Nidoqueen, and we swap to Hydro Pump, taking it to a sliver as we get double kicked before we take it down with Confusion. Next out is Kangaskhan, and we use Ice Beam, mostly just hoping to freeze again as Mega Punch wrecks us. We swap to Hydro Pump and take it to a sliver. Giovanni decides to throw the match by only using Rage as it goes down, but we only have 18 HP. We do outspeed the Rhyhorn, miss Hydro Pump, and then Fury Attack takes us down. The next battle actually starts off worse somehow, given the fact that we get poisoned pretty early. But we do have some better damage rolls. Despite only having 18 HP when the Rhyhorn comes out, this time around we land Hydro Pump to put an end to the battle, and then go see our favorite teenage adult witch person. I truthfully, I don't know how old Sabrina is in canon, now that I think about it. Huh. Sabrina first sends out Kadabra, and we open with Return, taking it out in one shot. Mr. Mime is out, and Return is able to take it to red as it sets up Calm Mind. Sabrina spends a turn healing, and we can take it back to red, only for Sabrina to heal again. 2 turns later, we're able to take it out. Next up is Venomoth, and Ice Beam takes it to half as Supersonic connects. We do end up smacking ourselves, and Psybeam does a little bit of damage. We snap out of Confusion, and then we can take it down next turn. Alakazam is last, and definitely outspeeds us, setting up Calm Mind as Return takes it to red. And then Psychic immediately wrecks us, which is heartbreaking. Next battle goes a lot different in regards to the Mr. Mime, because it sets up Barrier and then swaps out. However, once again, we are able to make it to Alakazam, and a single non-boosted Psychic is able to take us down to 42 HP. For whatever reason, though, it just decides to set up Future Sight, rather than attacking after a few heal-ups, and then it just goes down. I don't know why the AI in this particular game, because red and blue is just awful, but this game doesn't seem to have made as many improvements as I would have initially thought. And it's at this time I realized I haven't really talked too much about Psyduck, and I gotta admit, it's not going great. Psyduck being so slow and its other attacks being pretty low is making for a difficult run. I still think we're going to be able to win below level 100, but I think the Elite Four is going to be a lot of trouble for us. The good news is, the next 2 gyms that we'll be going against are going to be ones that we have at least a type advantage in. The rival will probably be a bit of a pain before the Elite Four, but am I stalling? Yes. Anyway, time to fight Blaine. At this time, we have to say goodbye to Hydro Pump. With the lower accuracy and PP, like I had mentioned before, Surf is the better move for us, while it is a little bit weaker. And due to getting rid of that, we can actually just sweep through the entirety of Blaine's team without having any type of worry. Denying the Sevi Islands as usual, and with every other gym out of the way, it's time to square off against Giovanni. Surf knocks out the Rhyhorn in one shot. Next up is Dugtrio. Earthquake hits hard, but we hit hard too with Surf, knocking it out in one shot. Nidoqueen is out, and Surf is able to take it out in one shot as well. Nidoking is next, and Surf is able to take it out too. Giovanni has one more Rhyhorn, and guess what? It's a one-shot. 2 back-to-back first-try victories. Rival time. The rival starts with Pidgeot, and we use Ice Beam, taking it to yellow as Wing Attack hits for a solid bit of damage. Then we can take it out next turn. Venusaur is next, and we get hit with Razor Leaf going down immediately again. We do try this battle about a dozen times with the Quick Claw attached, and unfortunately we just can't get the luck to line up properly. So with no other plans in mind, we do end up having to level up to make this work. At level 60 and about 10 attempts in, we can take Pidgeot down in 2 shots. Now with Venusaur, this is where you see we need the freeze to get past it, and thankfully we do freeze it and it goes down in 3 shots. Rhyhorn is a one-shot, and the Gyarados we get extra lucky and freeze it as well, so it goes down in about 5 shots. Gyarados is a one-shot, and Alakazam we take to red with Return, and it takes us to red with Psychic, and just like with Sabrina, it only uses Future Sight, so it goes down without putting up too much of a fight. So, fun fact, and I'm sure you probably guessed this, we are not ready for the next battle when we go up against Lorelei. We do replace Ice Beam temporarily with Brick Break. We also load up on the vitamins that are available to us. Lorelei having a fast Jinx usually ends most of our attempts because it's speedy enough to put us to sleep and then wreck us, and that's assuming that the Lapras doesn't Confuse Ray, Paralyze, and Demolish us. At level 80, Brick Break takes Dugong to yellow, and Lorelei heals up before going down to 2 more attacks. Cloyster likes to waste time, but 2 Surfs after the Protects take it down. With Slowbro, we hit it with Surf for about a 4th as it sets up Calm Mind. We swap over to Return, and then can take it out with a critical hit. Jinx is out, and Return takes it to red as it uses Attract. Lorelei heals up, but we thankfully get a critical hit to take it down before it can do any damage. Last is Lapras, and Brick Break takes it to half as the berry activates, and we get Body Slammed, Paralyzed, and Confuse Raid. We do end up taking it out, but you can see here how quickly Lapras is able to whittle away at our health, and at lower levels, it was doing a lot more damage. On to Bruno. We take out Onix in one Surf, and Hitmonchan goes down to a Confusion and a Return, thankfully missing its attack. Hitmonlee goes to red, and it misses its attack, and then we can take it out after another heal up. With Machamp, we can take it to red as the berry activates, and it hits us with Scary Face. Cross Chop takes us well below half, and then we take it out, and then with the final Onix, we can take it down pretty easy too. Okay, that's awesome. Let's check to see how Agatha goes. Gengar goes to yellow as we use Confusion, and it sets up Double Team. After that, Agatha heals up, and we can take it out without being punished. With Golbat, we can take it to red, and Air Cutter hits us, and then we can take it down not too long after. Arbok is next, and Confusion takes it to yellow as it hits Screech, then goes down. With Gengar, we can take it out in one shot, and then with Haunter, it goes down in 2 shots for a pretty simple victory. With Lance, we have to relearn Ice Beam, knowing that we're about to go against plenty of dragons, so let's take a look at that fight. Gyarados is out, and we can use Ice Beam for a crit to take it to yellow, and after that it goes down. From there, both of the Dragonairs and the Dragonite are all a one-shot, which I definitely wasn't expecting, at least with the Dragonite. With Aerodactyl, we actually end up freezing it, and Lance spends some time with this back and forth healing and attacking. Not too long after, it hits us with a pretty solid wing attack, but since it wasn't Hyper Beam like the first 7 attempts, we actually can take it down for a pretty simple victory. Rival time. Ice Beam takes Pidgeot to red, and we get Sand attacked as the rival heals, and then we can take it down. We do manage to land a critical hit on Venusaur, and that's what lets us take it down and not get wrecked by Razor Leaf. Alakazam is able to take us all the way down to 7 HP with Psychics, and due to it trying to set up Future Sight a few times, it's the only way we're able to take it down. Rhydon is next and goes down to a single Surf, and as Gyarados comes out, the Future Sight connects, and we get knocked out. Now, as much as I hate to say it, especially this late in the game, we do not have any choice but to level up. Sand Attack makes it hard. Solar Beam is easy enough to work around, but then Alakazam is able to wreck us, and so is Gyarados. At level 90, we can take Pidgeot down in one shot. With Venusaur, we can take it to red as it begins to set up Solar Beam. Given that it can't heal, and since it's a 2-turn move, we can take it out without getting hit. With Alakazam, we actually hit it with a critical hit Surf, so that takes it down. And then Rhydon, well, that's probably always going to be a one-shot. Ice Beam does a bit of damage, and Dragon Rage deals the 40. After that, we land a critical hit on the Gyarados to take it down. Then it's Arcanine who uses Extreme Speed for a bit of damage before it goes down to Surf, winning us the battle and the run. Overall, I had a lot of fun with that challenge, though admittedly I'm kind of curious to see how Golduck will do when I inevitably do a challenge with it. I'm working on setting up a timer to at least have that running with some of these fully evolved forms, just to see how the time plays out. Just trying to figure out how I want that to work. But hey, that's enough rambling for me, and as always, if you want to hang outside the YouTube first, check out the Discord. We also have a Patreon, and as always, if you like the video, even if you didn't like the video, hit the like and subscribe button, because it really does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out!